I never thought a baby shower would be the place where my entire life would unravel. The blue and pink decorations hung from the ceiling as I watched my pregnant wife Sophia laughing with her friends. Then her mother cornered me near the gift table. My daughter made a huge mistake, marrying someone who can't even afford a real house. Thank God her ex is still in the picture for emotional support. As Sophia giggled nearby, rubbing her belly, I felt my face burning with anger, but simply nodded and continued setting up chairs. Before I continue this story, let me know where you're watching from today. Hit that like and subscribe button if you've ever had to deal with in-laws who thought you weren't good enough. My name is Brant, and at 32 years old, I thought I had a pretty good life figured out. I grew up in a small town in rural Michigan, raised by parents who worked hard but never had much. My father was a plumber, and my mother worked part-time as a school secretary. They taught me the value of honest work and making something with your own two hands. From a young age, I dreamed of building my own house someday. Not just buying one, but actually constructing it myself, board by board. I spent summers working construction jobs, learning the trade and saving every penny. After high school, while my friends went off to college, I started working full-time in construction. By 26, I had saved enough to start my own small business focusing on eco-friendly renovations that were becoming popular in our area. The business was modest, but growing steadily. I had 3 employees, a decent reputation, and enough work to pay the bills with a little left over. I was proud of what I had built from nothing, even if it wasn't making me rich. Then I met Sophia at a mutual friend's backyard barbecue 2 summers ago. She was standing by the grill laughing at something someone had said, and I swear the sunlight seemed to gather around her. She had long brown hair, warm eyes that crinkled when she smiled, and this gentle way of talking that made you feel like you were the only person in the world. Sophia was an elementary school teacher passionate about her second graders, and always carrying art projects and stories about her students. Despite coming from completely different worlds, we clicked immediately. She appreciated my straightforward nature, and I loved her warm heart, and the way she saw the potential in everything and everyone, including me. What I didn't realize at first was just how different our backgrounds really were. Sophia came from serious money. Her father, Robert, owned one of the largest real estate development companies in the state. Her mother, Catherine, came from old money, the kind that has buildings named after their family at universities. Sophia had gone to private schools her whole life, spent summers in Europe, and had never worried about money a day in her life. Our first dinner with her parents was a disaster. Their house wasn't just a house, it was an estate, with a gate, a long driveway, and more bathrooms than I had windows in my apartment. Catherine took one look at my work boots, which I had polished for the occasion, but were still clearly work boots, and her smile froze in place. Throughout dinner, she asked probing questions about my future plans and whether I intended to go back to school eventually. Robert was quieter, watching me carefully occasionally, asking surprisingly insightful questions about my business. Catherine made it clear from the beginning that she thought Sophia could do better. "Darling," she would say to Sophia, right in front of me, "Andrew Thompson was asking about you. His family just opened that new resort in Aspen." Or she would reminisce about college boyfriends who were now doctors or lawyers or executives. I tried not to let it get to me, but it stung. Despite her mother's disapproval, Sophia and I grew closer. After a year together, during a simple camping trip to the lake, I proposed with my grandmother's modest diamond ring. Sophia cried and said yes immediately. For that perfect moment, everything felt right. The wedding planning quickly became a battleground. Catherine wanted an elaborate country club affair with hundreds of guests, many of whom Sophia and I had never even met. We wanted something simple outdoors with just our close friends and family. The arguments were constant, with Catherine threatening to withdraw financial support if we didn't do things her way. To my surprise, Sophia stood up to her mother for the first time in her life. "It's our wedding, Mom," she said firmly, during one particularly heated discussion. "Brant and I will decide how we celebrate our marriage." I had never been prouder of her. We compromised on a beautiful ceremony at a local botanical garden, not as lavish as Catherine wanted, but more formal than our original plan. The day was perfect, and seeing Sophia walk down the aisle toward me made every bit of family drama worth it. 6 months into our marriage, Sophia announced she was pregnant. We were overjoyed, dancing around our tiny apartment like children. The timing wasn't ideal. I had just put most of our savings into a modest fixer-upper on the edge of town. The house needed significant work, but the bones were good, and I had the skills to transform it. More importantly, it was ours, something we owned together, the beginning of our dream. Catherine was horrified when she saw the house. "You cannot raise my grandchild in this shack," she declared, looking at the peeling wallpaper and outdated kitchen. "Sophia, be reasonable. Your old room at our house is twice the size of this entire floor." What made things worse was the reappearance of Jackson, Sophia's ex-boyfriend from college. He came from a family similar to hers with old money and country club memberships. He had recently moved back to town to join his father's investment firm and had reconnected with Sophia through mutual friends. At first, I didn't think much of it. Sophia was friendly with several of her exes, and I wasn't the jealous type. But then Jackson started showing up everywhere, offering Sophia rides to prenatal appointments when I couldn't get off work, bringing over dinner when I was working late, texting constantly with baby advice, because his sister had recently had a child. Catherine made no secret of her preference for Jackson. "Now there's a man who knows how to provide," she would say after he arrived in his luxury car. "His family has that beautiful summer house on the lake. Wouldn't that be wonderful for weekend getaways with the baby?" I tried to ignore the comments, focusing instead on renovating our home room by room, making it safe and beautiful for our growing family. I spent every spare minute installing new floors, updating electrical wiring, and building a nursery with my own hands, complete with a handcrafted crib that took me weeks to perfect. The baby shower was Sophia's idea. "Let's show everyone our progress on the house," she said excitedly. I wasn't sure it was ready for company. The living room and kitchen were finished, but the upstairs bathroom was still torn up, and the backyard was a mess of construction materials. But Sophia was so enthusiastic that I agreed spending the week before the shower working late into the night to get as much done as possible. I took on extra renovation jobs to afford the extras for the baby, coming home exhausted but proud that I could provide. The nursery was my masterpiece with soft yellow walls, custom shelving, and the beautiful oak crib I had made. When I showed it to Sophia, she cried and hugged me tight. "It's perfect," she whispered. Those moments made all the hard work worthwhile. As the baby shower approached, I noticed Sophia texting Jackson more frequently. When I asked about it casually, she explained that his sister had all these great baby products she was recommending. Plus, she added, "He's been so helpful with all the pregnancy stuff you don't understand." That stung a bit, but I reminded myself that Sophia needed all the support she could get. If Jackson's sister had useful advice, who was I to complain? Still, a nagging feeling of discomfort grew in my stomach. The morning of the baby shower, I was up at dawn, mowing the lawn, hiding construction materials in the garage, and setting up tables and chairs in the living room and backyard. Sophia decorated with blue and pink streamers, not wanting to reveal the baby's gender until birth. Catherine arrived 2 hours early, immaculately dressed in an expensive-looking outfit that probably cost more than all our furniture combined. She immediately began fixing Sophia's decorations and rearranging the furniture I had just set up. "Brant," she called to me as I was hanging the welcome sign, "these chairs simply will not do. They don't match, and several look like you pulled them from a dumpster." In fact, I had restored several vintage chairs I'd found at thrift stores, sanding and repainting them by hand. "They're intentionally mismatched, Catherine," I explained patiently. "It's called shabby chic." Sophia picked the colors herself. Catherine sniffed disapprovingly. "Well, I suppose we must make do with what we have. Not everyone can afford matching furniture sets." As guests began to arrive, I played the dutiful host, taking coats, serving drinks, and making everyone feel welcome. Sophia glowed with pregnancy, looking beautiful in a flowy blue dress as she chatted with her friends and coworkers. Then Jackson arrived, carrying a gift so large it took 2 arms to hold. Inside was a top-of-the-line stroller, the exact model Sophia had been eyeing, but we had decided was beyond our budget. "Only the best for little baby Taylor," he announced, using Sophia's maiden name rather than our married name. Catherine clapped her hands in delight. "How thoughtful, Sophia. Look what Jackson brought." She turned to me with a sharp smile. "I hope you do not mind, Brant. Jackson knows quality is important when it comes to children's safety." I forced a smile and thanked him, then excused myself to get more ice from the kitchen. When I returned, Jackson was sitting next to Sophia on the couch, his arm casually draped behind her as they looked at pictures of baby products on his phone. It was during a lull in the party, as I was setting up more chairs in the backyard, that Catherine cornered me by the gift table. "I need to speak with you," she said in a low voice, glancing around to make sure no one was within earshot. "This has gone on long enough. What has I asked already?" Dreading whatever was coming. Catherine's perfectly made-up face hardened. "This charade. This pretending that you are good enough for my daughter and grandchild." She gestured dismissively at our home. "My daughter made a huge mistake, marrying someone who can't even afford a real house. Living in this half-finished construction zone while you play at being a contractor." I started to defend myself, but she cut me off. Thank God her ex is still in the picture for emotional support. "Jackson has been a lifesaver during this pregnancy, providing all the things you cannot. The guidance, the security, the connection to proper society." I noticed Sophia across the yard watching us while rubbing her belly and giggling with her friends. Could she hear what her mother was saying? Did she agree? "Sophia and the baby would be better off with someone like Jackson," Catherine continued. "Someone who can provide the life they deserve. Not struggling in this starter home that will probably never be finished." My face burned with anger and humiliation, but I remained silent, just nodding mechanically as I continued arranging chairs. Making a scene at my wife's baby shower would only prove Catherine right about me being classless and unsuitable. After Catherine walked away, I caught Sophia's eye across the room. Instead of coming to check on me, she smiled briefly before turning back to her conversation with Jackson, who was now showing her something on his phone that made her laugh out loud. During a quiet moment, while guests were playing a baby-themed game, I pulled Sophia aside. "Your mother just told me I'm not good enough for you," I said quietly. "That you made a huge mistake marrying me." I expected outrage, or at least concern. Instead, Sophia patted my arm distractedly. "Mom's just being mom. Don't take it personally. You know how she gets." "But do you agree with her?" I pressed. Sophia sighed, looking annoyed. "Can we not do this now? It's my baby shower, Brant. Let's just enjoy the party." She rejoined her friends, leaving me standing alone with my thoughts. Throughout the rest of the afternoon, I watched as Sophia, Catherine, and Jackson formed a tight little circle, laughing and talking as if they were the family unit, not Sophia and me. As the party wound down, I overheard Catherine saying to Sophia and Jackson, "We should continue this conversation over lunch tomorrow. The club has that salmon you've been craving, Sophia." When the last guest had left, Catherine delivered her parting shot. "Well, that was as nice as could be expected given the circumstances. Sophia, darling, remember what I said. It's never too late to reconsider your options before the baby arrives." She looked pointedly at me. "Some people simply do not measure up to family standards, no matter how hard they try." That night, as Sophia slept peacefully beside me, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying the events of the day and Catherine's cruel words. I decided to sleep on it before confronting the situation. Maybe things would look different in the morning. They didn't. The next day, Sophia acted as if nothing had happened, chatting about the gifts we'd received and the nice things people had said about the house. When she mentioned she was meeting her mother and Jackson for lunch, I felt something cold settle in my stomach. "Why is Jackson going to be there?" I asked. Sophia looked surprised. "Mom invited him. He's been so helpful with everything. Plus his sister had that baby last year, so he has good insights." More insights than me, the actual father. I couldn't keep the edge out of my voice. Sophia rolled her eyes. "Don't start this again. Jackson is just a friend. You're being insecure." After she left, I paced our half-finished house, anger and suspicion building. Why was my wife defending another man to her own husband? Why was she so dismissive of my concerns? Out of character for me, I checked Sophia's iPad that she had left on the couch. We had always had an open device policy, so this wasn't technically snooping, but it still felt wrong. My guilt vanished when I saw the text messages between Sophia and Jackson. Most were innocent enough, baby advice and links to products. But some raised serious concerns. "Jackson, your mom talked to me about the plan. Are you sure about this, Sophia? I don't know anymore. It's complicated. Brant tries so hard." Jackson, "But is trying enough? Your mom thinks you deserve better." Sophia, "Can we talk about this in person, not over text? What plan? What was my wife discussing with her ex-boyfriend and mother that she couldn't tell me about?" I took the day off work, telling my crew I wasn't feeling well. Instead of confronting Sophia immediately, I decided to gather more information. I drove to Robert's office downtown. Unlike Catherine, Sophia's father had always treated me with a basic level of respect, if not warmth. His secretary showed me in immediately, which surprised me. Robert looked up from his desk, not seeming shocked to see me. "I wondered when you'd show up," he said, gesturing for me to sit. "Catherine mentioned there was some drama at the baby shower. Did she mention that she was the cause of it?" I asked. Robert sighed heavily, removing his glasses and rubbing the bridge of his nose. "Brant, there are some things you should know. Catherine has never approved of you, but it goes beyond simple disapproval. She's been actively trying to sabotage your marriage." I sat in stunned silence as Robert revealed the extent of Catherine's manipulation. She had been paying Jackson to stay in Sophia's life, encouraging him to be available and attentive during the pregnancy, in hopes that Sophia would realize she had married down and correct her mistake before the baby arrived. "There's also a trust fund for the baby," Robert admitted. "Catherine set it up with conditions. The money is only accessible if Sophia is not married to you when the baby is born." "Does Sophia know about all this?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Some of it," Robert said. "Not the trust fund conditions, but she knows her mother disapproves and has been encouraging Jackson to stay close. And she's allowed it," I concluded, feeling hollow. "Catherine has always controlled Sophia," Robert said. "I love my wife, but she can be manipulative and domineering. Sophia has never been good at standing up to her." I left Robert's office with my mind made up. It was time for a real confrontation, no matter how painful. When Sophia came home from her lunch, I was waiting in the living room. Calmly, without accusations or anger, I laid out everything I had discovered. The text her mother's plan, Jackson's paid involvement, the conditional trust fund. Sophia's denial crumbled quickly. She collapsed onto the couch, tears streaming down her face. "I never meant to hurt you," she sobbed. "Mom has always controlled everything, and I just go along because it's easier. Jackson was never anything serious, I swear. But you let your mother belittle me, undermine our marriage, and try to replace me with your ex," I said quietly. "You stood by while she told me I wasn't good enough, that our home wasn't good enough." "I'm sorry," Sophia whispered. "I was weak. I wanted everyone to be happy. I need you to choose," I said firmly. "Your manipulative mother or our marriage. You can't have both. Not the way things are now." Sophia looked stricken. "I need time to think. This is all happening so fast." "Take all the time you need," I replied, "but not here. Not in this house that apparently isn't good enough for you or your mother." Sophia packed a bag, her hands shaking. "I'll stay with my parents for a few days, just to clear my head." As she walked out the door, I felt both heartbroken and strangely liberated. For the first time since meeting Catherine, I had stood up for myself. 3 days passed without a word from Sophia. I threw myself into work, finishing the nursery despite not knowing if a baby would ever sleep there. My family called to check on me, offering support and love. Surprisingly, Robert called too, saying he respected how I had handled things, and offering to help however he could. On the third night, as I was staining the last piece of trim for the nursery, my phone began buzzing incessantly. When I finally checked it, I had 30 missed calls from Sophia, Catherine, Jackson, and several from the hospital. My heart dropped as I listened to the frantic voicemails. Sophia had gone into early labor, stressed by our confrontation and the family drama. I raced to the hospital, my mind a blur of fear and worry. In the waiting room, I found a tense tableau. Catherine pacing anxiously, Jackson awkwardly sitting in a corner, and Robert standing by the nurse's station. When Catherine saw me, her face contorted with rage. "This is your fault. You upset her with your ultimatums and jealousy." Before I could respond, Robert stepped between us. "That's enough, Catherine. Brant has every right to be here. He's the baby's father and Sophia's husband." Catherine tried to prevent me from entering Sophia's room, telling the nurse I would only upset the patient. But the hospital staff recognized me as the husband and father, and Catherine's attempts at manipulation failed spectacularly in the real world, outside her controlled environment. Sophia was pale and tired, looking hooked up to monitors, but her face lit up when she saw me. "Brant, you came. I thought after everything." "Of course I came," I said, taking her hand. "Nothing could keep me away." The labor progressed quickly. Through it all, I held Sophia's hand, coached her breathing, and witnessed the miracle of our daughter entering the world. All the anger and hurt faded as I held that tiny perfect human in my arms. We named her Emma Grace, 7 pounds of pure love that made all the struggle worthwhile. It was in the recovery room, with Emma sleeping in a bassinet beside the bed, that the final confrontation occurred. Catherine burst in, Jackson trailing behind her. both carrying armfuls of expensive baby gifts. "There's my beautiful granddaughter Catherine," cooed, moving toward the bassinet. Sophia, still weak from labor but with new steel in her voice, stopped her. "Mom, we need to talk before you come any closer to my daughter." Catherine froze, surprised by Sophia's tone. "Darling, what's wrong?" "I know everything," Sophia said firmly. "The trust fund with conditions. Paying Jackson to hang around. Your plan to break up my marriage before Emma was born." Jackson looked at the floor, shame evident on his face. "I never meant for things to go this far," he admitted. "I just needed the money for my business. Catherine convinced me it was for the best." Catherine's carefully constructed facade cracked. "I was only trying to protect you. He cannot give you the life you deserve. Our family has standards, traditions. The only standard that matters is love," Sophia replied. "Brant has shown me more love in 2 years than you have my entire life. He built a home for us, worked extra hours to provide for us, created a beautiful nursery with his own hands while you were busy trying to destroy our marriage." "But," Catherine sputtered, "no more, Mom. You need to leave. When you're ready to respect my marriage and my husband, we can talk about your role in Emma's life. Until then, you're not welcome." After a stunned silence, Catherine left, dragging a relieved-looking Jackson with her. Robert stayed behind, congratulating us and promising to handle Catherine. The first days with Emma were challenging, but beautiful. Sophia and I had long talks about trust boundaries and family. She apologized deeply for allowing her mother's influence to come between us and promised to stand firm in the future. "I chose wrong," before she said, cradling Emma, while I sat beside them on the hospital bed. "But I'm choosing now, and I choose you and Emma. We're a family. Nothing is more important than that." Returning home with our daughter was a powerful moment. Our modest, half-finished house had become a home in the truest sense of the word. I carried Emma across the threshold, giving her a tour of each room, especially the nursery I had built with such care. "Your daddy made this just for you," Sophia told her, tears in her eyes. "Because he loves you so much. More than fancy things or big houses." Over the next year, we finished renovating our home room by room. Robert became a frequent visitor and devoted grandfather, even rolling up his sleeves to help with projects. He and Catherine had separated, his eyes finally opened to her manipulative behavior after decades of enabling it. Catherine stayed away for months, but eventually the desire to know her granddaughter overcame her pride. Her first visit was awkward and brief, but over time, with clear boundaries, firmly established and enforced by both Sophia and me, she began to change. Not dramatically, not completely, but enough to be part of our lives without poisoning them. My business thrived, ironically, helped by connections Robert provided. Sophia returned to teaching part-time, bringing Emma along to visit her second graders for special occasions. Our house became a warm, loving home, filled with laughter and the patter of small feet. The greatest change was in Sophia. Watching her stand up to her mother had unlocked something in her, a strength and independence she had never fully expressed before. Our marriage deepened and strengthened through the adversity we had faced. Looking back, I realized that standing up for myself had been the turning point. Not with anger or vengeance, but with calm dignity and clear boundaries. I had defined my own worth rather than accepting Catherine's judgment of me. Success isn't measured by the size of your house or the balance in your bank account. It's built day by day through love, integrity, and the courage to defend what matters most. My hands might be calloused from hard work, but they are strong enough to hold my family together and to build a life worth living. Have you ever had to stand up to someone who made you feel less than worthy? How did you handle it? Share your story in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share with someone who might need to hear that they are enough exactly as they are. Thank you for listening. And remember, the most beautiful homes are built with love, not money.